Uh, you guys, this month has been absolutely peak for us. It's been terrible. It's been a shocker. And, traditionally over the past few seasons, it's always been this month, yeah, where at the end of the month, you find out if you're contenders or pretenders. And I think right now, we are pretenders. And when I say this, I don't say this feeling embarrassed. I say this with a very realistic lens. I say this because we got a lot of young guys in the team that aren't 24, 25. I say this because there's been some selection changes. I say this because there's been some injuries that's stopping us from playing the ball we know how to. And for me, when I compare our football during that 17-game unbeaten run, that run where the whole fan base was absolutely gassed, on their knees, we're seeing 3-0, 4-0 wins, excellent counter-attacking goals, excellent goals from set pieces, all types of goals where, not conceding in God knows how many games too, during those fun times where we had fully fit players. We had players coming back to the team at the right moments too, just keeping that momentum going even more. Everyone loved that. Everyone was hands in the air, getting gas, Lampard's this, the players of that. But the second that all the conditions with the team right now aren't 100% perfect, it goes to the typical boring, cliched scapegoating and criticizing things that aren't the real thing. Like, one thing I don't get is why we love to always condense down every issue happening in the moment to one thing. If Lampard just played Werner up front, as if like Werner, his touch and his finishing is going to be magically on point, because let's not forget, irrespective of where he's playing up front or out wide, this guy has gotten unbelievable positions throughout the season where he's missed them. Playing out wide or in the middle would have made absolutely no difference, because at the end of the day, there was a responsibility that Werner did not take. Now, the questions and the answers should be, why is Werner's form not on point? I don't think it's down to the system entirely. The Lampard has his own adaptation on what Werner was doing at RB Leipzig. Of course, he's coming to a new team with different players that aren't the same as the players at RB Leipzig. And, let's not pretend that Werner hasn't been adapting every single season these past few seasons. That's what he has been doing. So for me, this guy has to learn to become a more complete player. And playing out wide a bit in the Prem is going to be good education for him in the long-term future. But, for me, I always see things long-term. I've always marketed myself as that content creator that speaks about the long-term, because that's the most important thing. This month has been awful, but is this proof that the plan isn't working, that Lampard isn't good enough, that the players that we signed are terrible, and there were clear mistakes made in the effort to sign these guys? No. I'm sorry, I do not think so, because I know if I say those things, I know next month, I know in Feb, they're going to come back to bite me. When Ziyech is back in the team. When our new signings have played over at least 10 games, at least. Because that's why we sign these guys, to play together. They haven't even played that many games together collectively due to all the injuries or, niggles that's happening non-stop constantly. So, on top of injury-prone players we already have, and your Pulisic, your Hudson-Odoi, you can go on, it does mean that our momentum is going to get halted at times. And this month has proved that. But does this prove that everything we've been working on and building towards is wrong? It's been an absolute lie, and that this team we're looking at right now, this current Chelsea team we're looking at right now, is going to be the same quality team like this until the end of the season? Of course not, because we're going to get back to form. When we signed Kai Havertz, we did not sign Kai Havertz due to the form he's showing at this point in time. Now, I know for some of you guys that actually watch him, not people that watch a few comments on Twitter and the ones that were praising Kai for his versatility in the summer and now are complaining about him not having that set position, even though he's never had a set position his entire career. This is what I mean, where we go on this blame game, this scapegoating, and I'm not here for that. I'll never talk about football like that, because there's nothing to learn from it in my personal opinion. But with this match review, I'm going to continue to get my thoughts and opinions, because I'm always going to do that even if people aren't happy with it. It is what it is. And before I continue on with anything, today's video is brought to you by OneFootball. Now, using OneFootball, I'm going to go through by discussing the lineup that Lampard put out for the game today. Now, it did not surprise me to see that there was going to be some rotation in the team today. I was a bit surprised that both Zuma and Thiago were replaced for Christensen and Rudiger. Jorginho, I guess he had to play. Cover needs a bit of a rest. Havertz, of course, still coming back from COVID. I think Lampard's realised with Havertz that maybe it's best for him to ease himself back into the team instead of trying to force him to get back to full speed quickly, because of course it just had not been working. And, for reasons like this, Jorginho's the only option to use. But hopefully not for too long, in my personal opinion. But what was nice to see with this lineup too was Hudson-Odoi and Christian Pulisic in the team. Now, we saw these guys play together in our European game, I think, versus Krasnodar Ren. Top of my head, you guys, apologies. But with this lineup, there was a clear focus on wingers' wing play. Getting the balls out wide when players are able to cut inside, that can, force things to happen during 1v1 situations. And when you use two wingers in the team that can put crosses inside the box, then Giroud is that striker you need, because it means that Giroud doesn't have to run into channels. Giroud doesn't have to use his mobility. He can focus on what he does best, and that's operating in those central areas. So when I saw this lineup, I did have some realistic expectations. But anyway, you guys, of course, with the OneFootball app, you'll find a link below in the description. Download it, so many handy features. You'll find a download link in the description below. But to continue on, from seeing how the game started, it was pretty 50-50 for most parts. Aston Villa, they were showing some danger operating in the half spaces. Bertrand Traore returning back to Stamford Bridge, cutting inside. We know what he can do with his left foot. Jack Grealish, he was really taking advantage of Jorginho, in my opinion. Now, when we play this 4-3-3 with Kante, why he's so effective as that CDM in the team is because when you're in this role, you do have to move to the wide areas to close down wingers, to help support the fullback, to help support the wide defender, and to help close spaces between the lines. So when you're up against a Kante with his exceptional 1v1 ability, it gives us the advantage knowing that, okay, we kind of have that safety net knowing that Kante is going to save our bacon and help us out. But with Jorginho, when you do use him in a role like this where he is more exposed in the base of midfield, because the difference between how Lampard uses him compared to Sarri was that with Sarri, this was kind of like a flat midfield three. It was very compact. Jorginho had protection from all areas. But with us, because we're a lot more expansive, because we use width, because we want to play a lot quicker, it does mean that there is going to be more space on the field. And this has always been my thing. I think Jorginho is a great player. I actually do. But it's all about compatibility for me. And he just doesn't do too well when the game is open. And today, his build-up play from deep was poor. 50-50 tackling was not great. You're playing with a man down when you have a guy like this in midfield. So it did not help with Mason Mount's ability to bomb forward and, attack the spaces and behinds. It meant that Kante couldn't do his thing as much. Crazy signing. But to continue on, I felt like after 20 minutes, and it does feel recently that we do struggle in the opening minutes for a bit before, slowly getting ourselves back into the game, finding our fullbacks a lot higher up the field as well. We were able to do that, and with this game today, because Aspie was playing down the right-hand side, it felt like we were focusing more of our build-up down the left-hand side, where Ben Chilwell played a very big part in the game today, was heavily involved in all of the attacks, and it was no surprise that he played the first major involvement in the game, getting the assist for Olivier Giroud. Now, as I said, you guys, when you play with wingers, because with our squads, with the players and the roles that they play, they do give us the opportunity to kind of field different types of teams. So we can field teams where we use wingers. We can field teams where with your interchanging in the final third, and this is the good thing about our squad, is the options that we can get. With time, as we add more players to replace your Emersons, Alonsos, etc., the players that Lampard clearly does not trust, and I absolutely agree with him because they haven't done anything, to be honest. I can understand why he gets forced to make certain decisions that he does in games, but of course you're always hoping that you want to see more. But there were some good moments. Giroud's goal was definitely one of them. Excellent header quality, and of course in this game we created opportunities to win this game. For me, we love to always find a scapegoat. It's only Lampard's fault, as if there's not 11 players in the field that could have done things to affect the nature of the game. We missed opportunities again. Christian Pulisic, of course, I sympathise with him. He's come back from another small niggle. It's going to take him maybe a few more games to get back to his best form that we saw at the end of lockdown last season, because there's still too much of good stuff and bad stuff. Sometimes his dribbling's on the right times, other times he's doing it at the wrong moments, or he's not playing the ball quickly enough. He isn't pushing the ball ahead of himself to take that shot early enough. I feel like I'm seeing a bit of rustiness at times in his decision making, and this was one thing that was absolutely on point from last season. So this is what I mean, you guys, when I look at the team in the situation, when I analyze the forms of players, a lot of these guys aren't even playing the same way that we were seeing from previous seasons and at previous moments of the season as well. So I just personally think that after this period, things are going to get a lot better once we have some more schedule, once there's more opportunities for rest and with work to be done in the training ground. I feel like we are going to get back to what we was doing before, to be honest. But to wrap things up, Aston Villa, they come back. Christensen again. I think I saw a tweet from Expected Chelsea where he mentioned something about every time Christensen gets injured and knocked down, we concede a goal straight after. And of course, a man short, Kante, I can understand how he missed that in the context of the moment, but a sloppy piece of play. Aston Villa capitalised, even though they tested us but didn't create anything of real proper quality. It's frustrating because before we were shown with our form that when games were tight, let's say games weren't going in our favour, we could still not play at our best and get something from the game. But it does feel like we are going back a tiny bit. But I just feel that once players are on form, once players return back, once we get out of this period, I think we're going to be okay personally. Again, for me, the application to the end was there. The quality was not there at times all the time. Ben Chilwell, excellent opportunity right at the end, but from the start, seeing the lineup, I just felt like I had realistic expectations. I feel indifferent, to be honest, you guys. I just feel a bit indifferent. I'm hoping that we come back in the next game versus Man City with some new hunger, some new fire in the team, and take it from there. But you guys, that was a match review. I'm Nini FC. This is Blue Lions TV. I'll catch you guys later with some more videos.